Good evening, everyone. Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist Nathan Schutt. We're tracking some lingering snow showers early on tonight. It's not delivering much in terms of any additional accumulations, but coming off of a decent amount of snow across the area is what we saw going into this morning. A good around 1 to 4 inches of snow fell across the area. On the lighter side, but still enough to cause some slippery road conditions going into this morning. And we've seen a big improvement in those road conditions, thankfully, throughout the day, as we haven't had a whole lot of additional snow. Again, we had some flurries, a couple snow showers lingering, and we're seeing that right now as we look live in Weirton. While we're seeing some snow, again, nothing that's really accumulating much going into this evening. Our current temperatures right now residing closer to that 30-degree mark. That helped the crews clear roads into this afternoon. Some of these temperatures getting back closer to freezing, and what's going to help even more of any lingering slick spots is the fact we're likely seeing some sunshine break out into tomorrow afternoon. So if you're still noticing some slick spots in your area, you're going to notice a further big improvement likely by tomorrow afternoon, especially considering that these lingering snow showers will be coming to an end. So we're going to be noticing these snow showers likely even start to taper off here as we do extend over the next couple of hours. So observe snowfall from what we had from last night into today. Here's a look at totals across the area, and I'll get myself to extend into the overnight hours. We're going to be watching these come to an end as high pressure builds into the regions. That's what we're going to be watching extend into the time period here into tomorrow, thanks to high pressure. And again, we even spot some of that sunshine as well. So there's a look at live radar right now. Again, seeing not too much remain, right? Still some of these lingering snow showers. We're still streaming enough moisture there off the Great Lakes. But what we're seeing now will come to an end here shortly. Like I mentioned, even over the next couple of hours leading up closer to midnight, these snow showers are going to taper off. And what does remain, again, nothing really going to be that impactful, maybe a coating it most likely in spots. And we look at our current road levels. Now, to keep in mind, this is issued by the local sheriff offices in Ohio. This is not something that is carried over into West Virginia. The sheriff offices in county by county basis in West Virginia do not participate in this, but nonetheless, it still gives us somewhat of a good idea, judgment on road conditions, because you could very well take these counties that do typically issue road levels in Ohio and translate it into the northern panhandle, right? It's similar. And what we've seen here as of 8:15, I went back and looked at current levels at 8:15 this evening. We see Jefferson Belmont no longer under road level and still level 1, Guernsey, Noble, and Monroe. Again, just indicative that road conditions at this point are improving across the area, but we can still have some slick spots remain in place overnight before, again, a further improvement tomorrow. A good bet that these road levels are lifted Sunday afternoon because, again, crews can get out and further treat these roads, you're going to notice that any of these lingering slick spots are leaving us. Temperatures closer to freezing and some sun. So your future cast, so let's map out some of that sunshine for your Sunday. Now, it can take some time, right? We're not going to wake up to it, but likely later on to the day, this is when we can see that sun break out. There's your temperatures, likely a little warmer with respect to today. I think better odds we're getting closer to freezing. Now, the clearing is short-lived. This break in snow, it's short-lived as well. We're going to notice that next round of snow come our way going into your Monday, and we're going to be watching for its arrival, likely more so in the Monday morning time frame. So it doesn't line up well with the morning commute. Unfortunately, this is when we'll likely see that snowfall is right around the morning commute. And while you're going to notice here in just a minute, the overall accumulation is likely not much, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to be getting any impacts from this, because the kicker is, while the accumulations probably aren't much, they can occur quickly. So while you could only be looking upwards of about an inch across most of the area, when that occurs quickly, that's still enough to cause slippery road conditions. And again, the timing's unfortunate because it's likely around the morning commute. So I think there is that narrow window of time where we're still dealing with slippery road conditions into Monday morning before the conditions quickly improve, as a lot of the snow showers likely taper off into Monday afternoon. So it is likely more of a narrow window of time of the impacts, and then for most of the day, Monday, we're likely just fine, especially, again, going into the afternoon and evening hours. And you'll see that Futurecast illustrating this, that snow showers continuing in the morning, maybe even up towards midday, but then the afternoon, they likely taper off. And then we look dry through the remainder of Monday, and likely even staying dry going into Monday night. So again, we recap this next round of wintry weather. It's Monday, again, mainly through the morning hours, maybe something lingering into midday, early afternoon, but this is mainly morning is when we're going to notice it. It is more of these snow showers, so we can be a little more scattered in nature for our snow with these snow showers into Monday morning. But again, the kicker is some of these snow showers can be heavy, so that can yield those quick accumulations. While it's likely not too much, right? Only upwards of about an inch probably for most of us, that it can occur quickly. So we're still looking at that easily potential for some slippery road conditions. It's kind of hard where to categorize it in terms of impact, because again, we're not dealing with widespread slippery road conditions. It's likely more in spots. And overall, I think the impact, will call it low. But again, I don't want to downplay the fact that you still could come across some slippery road conditions into Monday morning. And here's kind of a rough timeline of this going throughout the day Monday, how even as early as about 4 a.m. Monday, I think that's still a bit before that snow arrives. So, the pavement conditions or road conditions should be generally dry at that point. But then you'll notice how it can quickly change leading up to the morning commute. With the arrival of that snow, these road conditions can quickly deteriorate. So it's going to be that quick burst of snow that delivers slippery road conditions, for a short period of time. And then conditions improve into midday and likely further improve in the afternoon, to even to the point where conditions could even just turn dry going into the evening, as again, we are not anticipating additional snow showers likely into the latter part of your Monday. So we can notice road conditions turn mainly just wet across the area to even possibly dry into Monday night. Now, another thing to watch with this is with a cold front passage. So another thing we're going to be watching for into the middle of next week is how cold it is going to get. So while we'll be dealing with these snow showers Monday morning, again, we'll be preparing for that potential for some slippery road conditions for Monday morning's commute. From there, our attention will mainly turn to, we can have some more lake effect snow showers in place in the middle of next week. But I would argue that our attention will really turn to how cold it gets. I think that's the bigger story into the middle of next week. And here's a look at this. We look at that temperature versus wind chill during this stretch from Monday into Wednesday, and you notice where we're going to end up. By the end of your day Monday, we'll see those wind chills start to dip into the teens, and then we are into the single digits to negative single digits. That's our range starting Tuesday morning and then continuing even going into Thursday morning. That is how cold it's going to feel to us. And our temperatures themselves, actual air temperatures, will range from the single digits to teens, but we maintain a breeze throughout this period. So wind chill is certainly a factor. And again, negative single digits to single digits, that's as warm as it's going to feel starting early Tuesday and then continuing all the way into Thursday morning. So, we're going to have to brace for impact as we're going to be looking quite cold. And yes, we can even feel a bit colder than what we felt even earlier this week into our Friday morning when we had those temperatures single digits. Keep in mind, our winds were calm. Wind chill is not a factor. Not the story this time. So when we dip into the single digits these mornings, while overall the actual air temperature likely a bit warmer with respect to what we had Friday morning, the wind chills, it can feel colder to us from what we had this Friday morning when we're factoring in those wind speeds into these mornings looking ahead, especially going into that Wednesday morning and Thursday morning. That's likely our coldest mornings before temperatures will eventually then start to pick back up as we do look ahead. And we have a little bit of a warm up. There's no real big warm up ahead as we do extend over the next 10 days, but likely going to see at least a little bit of a warm up where those temperatures at least reach back above freezing. And we'll notice that going into the following weekend or into next weekend. That's when we could see those high temperatures residing back more mid, even upper 30s, and then another cool down will follow. So it's a little bit of a warm up. We're going to break our streak here of high temperatures of 32 degrees and below likely by this end of this coming week and into the following weekend. But this warm up is not a big warm up, right? And ultimately, it's not going to do too much there to really reduce the snow cover that's in place. It'll reduce it some, but not going to be reducing it too much from the temperatures that we see into Friday and Saturday, especially considering those overnight lows still likely dropping below freezing. It'll be close there into Saturday morning, but you really want to start to melt a lot of this snow cover. A good combination is overnight lows to stay above freezing and rain as well. If you can get a lot of rain, it'll eat away at that snow cover. And then, of course, that's when we deal with the potential for flooding. And we'll say, though, keep in mind, a lot of the snow that's on the ground, we've had a lot with these cold temperatures, more of that dry, powdery, fluffy snow. So the equivalent of water that's sitting in our yard is not too alarming, as a lot of it has been more of that dry, powdery, right? So we haven't had overall a lot of total precipitation or the total water hasn't been that high, considering that we've had some high ratios. So it hasn't taken too much liquid to equate to quite a bit of snow is what I'm getting at. So it's something else that we'll keep an eye on, but just something worth mentioning, because I know that's a lot of the thoughts as well, is eventually this is going to melt, right? And if it's met with a big rain event, then there's always that question of how bad is that potential for flooding? And, at least as it stands right now, I know we're only going to continue to add to the snow cover, but, thankfully this has been more of that dry, powdery snow. So, think people are not dealing with a large amount of water sitting in our yards right now due to the fact that overall the total precipitation with these events have been low. But it's been enough to equate to a good amount of snow cover in our yards right now across the Ohio Valley. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a wonderful night. I will not be back in tomorrow, off Monday as well, but you can join me Tuesday. I'll be back Tuesday and we'll dive in at that point. At that point, we're all going to be bundling up. We're going to be retreating inside, but you can join me hopefully from the comfort of your home where it's warm, and we'll break down some of those bitterly cold wind chills coming our way. And we'll also, of course, break down some of these scattered snow showers that we can have in place around that time. We'll have the latest on that as well. Again, thanks so much for joining me, guys. I hope everyone has a warm and safe night. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and then I'll catch you guys next week. And before we even get to next week, again, if you could join me coming up, News 9 at 10, Fox 9, News 9 tonight, 11. Catch me there as well, even before we wrap up your Saturday. But again, I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the weekend, and I hope you have a good night.